The biggest memory that I will never forget is taking the CPC 1100 when it first came out. I took it to my hometown, which is South LA. I picked up the CPC, set it up. I called all my family together. I showed it to my mom, and the first object was Saturn. So she finally looked through it, and she was like, "What is that?" "That's Saturn." "That is Saturn?" And she was like, "Ay, Dios mío." So they were looking through the front thinking that there must have been something added to the scope.
Once a month I go to Seal Beach and they have star parties. There's about 200 people that show up there, ages from like 5 years old and up to maybe even 90 years old.
One of my greatest joys is being a goodwill ambassador of Celestron and being able to promote Celestron and Celestron products to people all over the country. Why? Our products are fun. They're exciting. They teach you.
I donated the first scope to a little boy. His name was Cameron. He was like 11 years old. Usually when I go to the star party, he'll be like my assistant. I'll have him, stand next to me and do a demonstration.
These children are going to be the next generation of scientists and engineers and mathematicians and teachers. And if we can spark an interest in them right now at an early age, then we know it was truly worth it.
I'm heavily immersed in using the products as well as the testing phase. There's the daytime office job, and then there's the second part of that, or maybe even you might argue is the primary part of it, which is being able to validate the performance of a product. Ultimately, you have to get under the stars to do it. As many amateur astronomers and imagers will tell you, it's a lot of pain through trial and error, but ultimately you end up gaining some very good knowledge on how to get the results that you want to get.
When I first started, we were an astronomy company, and telescopes were extremely intimidating scientific instruments that were to be handled very carefully. As we've developed our product lines into sport optics and microscopes, so that we've been able to integrate these products more into our daily lifestyle. Where I use it is right in my backyard. I've got binoculars in my golf bag, in my car, at the back door, at the front door, because you just never know where you're going to find something. I was in New Zealand once and my cousin took her dog to the vet, and I happened to take the microscope, the handheld digital, with me. So I handed it to the vet and I said, "Here, look at the dog's skin under this." And he said, "Oh, this is great. How can I get a whole bunch of these?"
I get to play with binoculars and spotting scopes all day long, and I try to apply them to different situations, whether it be bird watching, whether it be stargazing, and try to use them in real world conditions. Sometimes we'll be in the mountains and we'll get lucky where we'll see a deer or something. I'll set up a spotting scope, I'll show my wife, I'll show my parents, I'll show my cousins that happen to be with me. We were looking at buffalo and elk, and by the time I had everything set up, I turned around, there were like 20, 30 other people trying to see what I was looking at. So it gave me the opportunity to actually show people, what I was looking at, and they were able to look through the optics as well. So
we have great optics, and the optics that I can use when I go in the morning to check out surf, I could see down the beach. It might be better to the north, it might be better to the south. A lot of times we have to hike into certain surf spots. If I go to Trestles down in San Onofre, that's a long walk. You got to park way up the hill, so sometimes I'll bring my backpack and then I'll bring my binocular. My friends that are down there always want to use it because they know I have it. They'll ask me, "Hey, can I see this spot too? I want to look to the north and see if it's any good down there. Can I borrow that?"
I've been off-roading since I was a kid. I grew up with it with my parents, and now as a parent, I'm bringing my kids up the same way. They have dirt bikes and quads, and we have a Rhino, and the kids love it. They look forward to the trips, and it's just a great way to spend family time. We use the binoculars to find trails, watch our kids ride.
My son actually saw me fixing the scope. At that time, the moon was out. He looked through it and he was really, really amazed. And his first words were like, Dad, can we show to all my friends at the daycare? And I said, all right, we could definitely set up a star party.
Because when people come up, when they look through the eyepiece and I see them get so excited, we see that all the time. But it never gets tiring.
Since the age of 5, I've actually been a member of a group called the Southern California Paleontological Society. When I'm using the products, for example, our microscopes, the first time I ever took one home, I took out some of my favorite fossils and I started looking at them. So I brought the microscope and my computer to the meeting, and everyone was bringing their fossils over and saying, "Can I get a turn? I want to see and take a picture of my fossil next."
I take a lot of the products home with me and I'll take them out in my neighborhood. I also do a lot of star parties at my son's school. One of the things I enjoy most about my job is being involved in the educational aspect of it as a mom. I'm very excited to have that part of the job where I get to support STEM through my responsibilities here at Celestron. I'm Michelle Meskel, and I Celestron for Education.
I'm Andrea Tabor, and I Celestron at the La Brea Tar Pits.
I Celestron while off-roading in California City.
On all my surf trips.
When I'm hunting turkeys.
I Celestron in my backyard.
I Celestron in the Sierra Nevada.
I Celestron at Seal Beach.
I Celestron in the city of LA.
And I Celestron 24/7 around the world.
Where do you Celestron?